send everything over to Mr. Hofford and find out.
Add that to your list.
So I'm supposed to, okay, and I'm a little, not clear on what I'm asking him about, so I'm gonna.
That's, we'll get you the information.
All right, fine.
We'll
And that's
give you
to
the
follow up
information.
with tunnel leak.
But
Yeah.
that hydrant does need some maintenance.
I wrote down leaky head and drippy hydrant, does that work?
That'll be fine, and steamer valve won't, cap
Okay,
won't come
steamer
off.
valve, that's it, steamer
Yeah,
valve.
which that's important, that's what we like to use.
Did you cross thread it?
No, we never got it off, we ended up using the ears, the 2.5 inch ears, because we couldn't get the steamer off. I was gonna take a hammer to it, but that was a Sunday morning, and I thought if I break it, nobody's gonna be able to fix it, so I didn't take a hammer to it, we just used the ears, so.
Parks and Rec.
Review of the Rex meeting from earlier this month. We had a deposit of $105 from fitness center memberships. There's also been a general consensus by the rec members to look into the possibility of improving the former railroad into a walking trail. We would like to look further into several possibilities for funding for projects such as this, including Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program, or the Chambers Foundation, or local share account funds. Should a Rails and Trails project not be obtainable, we also like to discuss other projects that we could use this type of funding for, including the formal proposed memorial park at the old cemetery on North Liberty and possibility of other playground areas. Before we begin that, it's understood by the Parks and Rec Board, according to our ordinance, that all projects must first be approved by the supervisors. So with that, we would like to respectfully ask for the supervisors to approve the following. For us to gather information pertaining to the 3 grant resources, the possible amounts, matching amounts and deadlines. Also gather public information of ownership of the possibility of the proposed walking trail from the tunnel moving east towards Claysville. And after obtaining such information, the next step would be to receive quotes for costs to prepare and complete the necessary projects.
Have you had any discussion with Capri?
No, not yet.
Okay, because they
I can provide you some information about the rails and trails. Okay.
That would be wonderful.
Because that's already in process. There's already a committee doing it, and
Is it for Donovan Township or is it for Buffalo? I know that there's one in
Place.
Yeah,
Claysville.
but I
yeah,
mean,
starting in
she
place.
said about that.
Yeah, I think it's under the Buffalo
Playground.
Township Rails and Trails program.
No way.
No, I don't think.
The rails to trails, it's above Newton and going up towards Timber Lake.
That's all Buffalo.
It's all
correct?
Buffalo,
Is it
yes.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
Buffalo, yeah, I don't think that
But I
there's
don't
been
think they're
anything.
called Buffalo rails.
They have their
The
own
current-
little,
The current tax parcel ID number for that I have looked into, the actual tax parcel name is Buffalo Rails to Trails, that's what the name is under. But yeah, I haven't seen anything for Donovan Township.
they just put it in LSA for
Okay.
that one, so. I have mentioned it, I think that Connor Ridge thinks I'm joking every time about, what are you gonna do with it, because we could develop it, there are things we
Yeah,
could
they own a
do.
pretty good chunk of it.
Yes,
Yeah,
Fairly
and
good.
then the county owns the tunnel. But they own up until you get to the point of Columbia Gas.
Who does?
Tunnel Ridge.
Connor Ridge does.
Okay,
The,
yeah,
wait a minute.
why don't,
You're not talking about a playground on this land right here.
we just discussed other possibilities. If the Rails and Trails wasn't an option, we were trying to find another place in town that we could potentially use some grant money to develop a playground.
Yeah,
I
but
know
that's on Graves there. You would never wanna.
I know previously they had presented some type of project, and Kathleen Miller had brought that to our attention at the last meeting, that was formally idea, so that we had
Okay,
discussed
we
that,
don't
or
want-
we had discussed some other possible land that we could potentially
Okay.
build a
Some-
playground as well.
Some years ago, they looked into a playground, a little park here, and I believe at that time the cemetery had been condemned, but there's nothing left there. Is my recollection.
Well, the only thing.
Whether or not it's a good idea is,
Yeah, but
you
the
know,
only
but
thing
it's
that's not there is the stones. The
No.
graves was never moved.
right, they're gone.
The cemetery. No, they're there. The people still buried under there.
There were some that were moved to the other cemetery. I don't know how many.
It's my understanding, the graves that were left there, it was condemned because there's nothing left of them. They have turned into dirt. That you would find no
I know,
remains, no
but that-
caskets, nothing there, so it was condemned after that. That's my recollection. And that was probably 10 or 15 years ago.
Well, you know,
Not saying it's a good idea, I'm just saying it's my
understand that,
recollection.
I
So-
talked to a fella in
Isn't the founder-
Dunbar at,
Isn't the founder of West Alexander buried there?
yeah, but I talked to a fella in Dunbar, Pennsylvania. And he is the director of the, Historical Society around there. And he told me that definitely not, that cemetery, anybody that does those stones off should be in prison. And this guy knowed what he's talking about in that area. And he said, if I had somebody buried there, down the line,
Mhm.
he said, they would.
Washington County Court of Common Pleas declared that cemetery could be abandoned. I read the court order,
Yeah.
there's a
I
court
could
order.
never
that
put a
effect.
playground, have kids
And
playing.
I'm not
on top of
advocating it, I'm
dead
just
people.
saying, the owner of that ground is a Presbyterian church, and they have granted permission to use other parts of it.
Well, then I make a motion that Parks and Rec explore funding to do the Rails to Trails project.
Yeah.
Gather
Well, I was-
information, funding.
Before you do, I was gonna add, in her list there, is there anything that really requires board action?
I think they just wanna make sure.
Not the research, I don't think.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
just,
in the ordinance, it's discussed that we are
Don't
to
prove it.
advise the supervisors of, activities, projects and
The,
such.
we've been so advised by your report, and I
Yeah.
don't think, I mean, if you wanna go out and see what grant money you can get, that's fine.
Yeah, that's all we're asking, we're just
Yeah.
asking for your approval
Just
to
to let you
do.
know, the JB Chambers Foundation, I've actually met with them before, they are very happy to invest money here in West Alexander. In
Absolutely.
fact, they are currently
Mhm.
investing money in West Alexander on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's why we're looking at that. as well.
Every day. They are not, I mean, they fund the food bank here in town. And in the winter time, they buy clothes for the kids here, and jackets and.
Yeah, I know they did a program.
Yeah, and they're looking for people
They're
here
in this
to
area.
help them West Alexander.
Yeah, that's what we had
They
discussed.
would probably would look very close to the playground if you find a place.
Yeah, and that's what I said, if we couldn't do a Rails to Trails, then a playground would absolutely be another option, and,
Yeah.
of course, we'd have to find land that would be suitable to do so.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, police department.
Yes, sir. For the month of September, we provided our 600-man minimum hours of service. We had 125 calls for service with 264 events. Actions initiated included 1 prisoner transport, 9 assists, what's relevant here? 1 criminal mischief, 10 domestics, 2 narcotics violations, a DUI, 2 forgeries, 1 fraud, 6 harassments, 1 mental health call, some lost property, suspicious vehicles, 1 theft. We had 2 reportable crashes, 1 non-reportable crash, firearms violation, and 2 ordinance violations that we talked about earlier. Total property loss for the month was approximately $795.
How many truck issues in West Alexander?
You know, I didn't keep them separate, but we talked to a lot of truck drivers. They did keep us busy. 3,928 miles. We used about 273 gallons of gas. The fines collected from the magistrate are again on the report. We reviewed the building code, or the code enforcement, and that's about it for the month.
Thank you. Along with the police department thing, I got this letter here. I'll read it now. It's addressed to me. Sir, as you may or may not be aware, the Donald Township Police Association is the recognized bargaining unit for police employees in our department. The contract that the officers are working under has been expired since December 2018. And the chief of police that was incorporated into this bargaining unit by the Pennsylvania Department of Labor has been working without a contract since January of 2017. Although we have agreed with the township to consider working under the terms of the expired contracts until one could be negotiated, we feel that these negotiations have been less than a priority, and there is some confusion as to where and how the negotiations last ended. In January of 2019, the board directed one of its members to negotiate appropriate terms with the bargaining unit as the township representative. After what appeared to be successful negotiations on February 7th and 21, the bargaining unit was to provide him with a scale for projected salaries for the life of the proposed contract, which we have provided. The board representative was to carry the status back to the board, notifying the bargaining unit as to their board's position, and continue the negotiations. In fact, on several occasions, we asked for an update by the board at open meetings. When asked for the assigned supervisor reported that he was waiting for the unit to provide additional information, as we are now not sure that that representative has reported back to the board as agreed and not been contacted with any request for additional information. We wish to reach out with a possible solution, as it is not our intention to cast blame, and in order to avoid the unnecessary steps of filing for arbitration under Act 111, we are requesting that the chairman of the board of the Donegal Township Board of Supervisors meet with our appointed representative to continue and complete said negotiations as quickly as they can be responsibly completed. Thank you for your time. We look forward to further conversations on this matter. Ed Shell, President, Donegal Township Police
Well, what
Association.
he said in waiting for information to come back is absolutely true, and we never did receive any further information. This board has been more than one meeting. Nobody's ever denied meeting with anybody. It's available. And he didn't take a step forward and give us whatever it was we had asked for at the time.
He says he did.
No, he did. I don't have it. I don't have it. Never got it.
I remembered him giving it to us.
I don't have it. You were at that meeting. Ed was at that meeting.
I did, and Ed,
Mr. Smith was at that meeting.
and I've asked several
Yeah.
times about it.
I don't have it. If you have it, provide it. I don't have it. I've never seen it.
Water under the bridge, we gotta deal with the letter right now. What are we gonna do? Apparently, they can ask for arbitration under Act 111 according to the
That's,
letter.
they need to have a contract. I'm not against negotiating a contract.
So, what do we wanna do?
Well, I guess they asked for you.
They asked for the chairman of the board,
Well,
yeah.
then I think that the chairman of the board should meet with them and see what we can do.
Bring it back.
I'll make that a motion to do that. Get it done.
Did you say you make that a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Discussion. How do you vote?
Tom,
Yes.
Doug?
Yep.
Kathy?
Yes.
Ed?
No.
3 yes, 1 no, motion carried.
Can I ask a question? Is that inappropriate?
Good.
Betty Shingle, I just wanted to ask, can we know what it is that's missing? It's been a long time. What exactly do they not have? Can we
No, I
know
don't-
that? Maybe we
I don't
can't know it, I don't know. I'm just asking.
It's just part of the negotiations, I don't know.
Oh, okay,
All right,
thank you.
road department.
Okay, well, we've been making progress on the roads, and the mowing, that's really looking good that they're doing. But we have a problem with that side boom mower, and it's cost us a lot of money. And by next year, I hope you agree to upgrade and get a better one. And Steve and I talked, we could get by another year with a road grader if we upgraded and got a better, one that we're not broke down all the time on. So, but the other one that we've fixed, it's working real good and not having a problem with it. But we've got a lot of money in that side mower. And it does a good job, but we need a new one, so.
Yeah. Crowd will be upset when we get rid of that one.
Well, yeah, but that's just something to think about from now till spring. We gotta come up with some money to do that. So. But other than that,
Everything else?
everything else is
What's the
good.
anticipated cost of replacement?
I've never checked that out yet, we just talked about it, and I haven't had a chance to look at it, because like I said, they've been using it, and it's broke down again. I just talked to Steve today, and it broke down again, and he's told me how much he's put in it, and it's not worth putting any more into it.
Sharon, how much money is in Act 13?
There's still like, there's 6 on the paper.
Okay, but I don't, maybe do off the top of your head.
Act 13 has 864,000.
I think we can afford it.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I mean, I move that we
We
investigate.
gotta get some prices.
Come
well,
back with some prices from CoStarz.
I'll work on that there and get what,
Because-
and I'll go up with Steve and see exactly what we need.
Yep.
And then I'll go and check out,
Yeah,
and I'll have
you should
that,
be able to get it on the CoStar, so you don't have to bid it.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I think we need to figure out if it's this particular mower, if it's the brand, do we need to look at something else?
Well, no, it's just been used a lot, and see, they didn't have the other mower.
Yes,
They completely used it all the
to do
time.
everything.
And it just took its toll on it, and it just wore out. It's not the brand or anything, it's just wore out. But we can look into different ones, see which one's the best, and talk maybe to other townships, see what they got, or
Okay.
even the state. But the state, what I see, uses this type of, that brand and that there for all theirs, where they go up and hit them
Mhm.
trees and everything. So I don't think it's really that there, but I think it's just overworked, it's ready for the boneyard.
All right, along on the road report, I had the opportunity to be out on several of the roads this past week, and wow, I think we're looking good going into winter. Rome wasn't built in a day. If you live on a bad road,
We
We're
have a
coming.
lot more, we have a lot more to do,
But
but you
the
can
ones I
only,
was
after
on-
20 years, you're not gonna do it in the length of time that we had.
yeah, I was
Because
on,
you're only taking from May, and it took a month to get the grader going. So, that many, that,
But the-
length of time, the ones, and everybody, even Pam come in here bragging about it.
yeah.
And that there, and the grader is doing its job. And then if next spring, if we could get this mower and have enough money next spring, we need to upgrade that grader too, if we have the money for it. That would be a good thing, because the better stuff those guys have, and that there, the better job they can do.
Give them lessons on how to run it.
Pardon?
They need lessons on how to run it.
Yeah, well, Scott I'll tell you the truth, Scott's doing a good job on that grader.
I think PennDOT actually has training available.
So does the
You don't
union.
have to, the union does.
When we-
You don't have to go to
Well,
PennDOT.
when we can get it done at no cost at the point of
Well, that's what I'm saying, that union, they belong to a local, and they have the right, if they belong to an operating engineers local, they have the right to sign up and go there and tell what piece of equipment they wanna learn. And they'll sign them up, and,
Maybe we need to send somebody,
well, that's what I'm saying. But nobody knowed that whenever I got in here. No, you asked them, and they just acted like Are you crazy? But, I don't care if it's a crane, if it's a dozer, or what it is. If they belong to that union, they're paying dues into a local, they can sign up, and then when a available spot comes, and they'll train you to run whatever you wanna run. So,
Okay, thank you, Tom. Yeah.
Before you continue, may I ask one question? In the September financial report, expenditures, there were 2 expenditures for the road department. One was under code 430.26, which was tool and minor repair, for $4,086.20. And one was under 437.25.
did it say what it was,
It says, no, it just says tool minor repair. That's all it says.
Oh, see, because whenever I got that stuff, we wrote down what it was for.
Yeah, and
Like
then,
if it was for the bush hog or whatever,
no, it doesn't say.
like that.
Then the second one is, this is in September's report.
Yeah.
There's a 437.25 road department repair material equipment in the amount of $6,651.32.
Oh.
And to the best of my knowledge, I've found no motion that approved those expenditures.
Okay. Where are you, 437.25,
Yeah,
$4,006. What was the other one?
4,086.
No,
Are
4,006.
you on September?
September through October 21st. Are you talking about last month's?
Yeah, last month.
I don't have it.
Yeah. Hang on.
I believe that came up last, you weren't here.
No,
That
no.
came up last time, and we passed that kind of retroactively. They were repairs that needed to be made. We couldn't wait a month.
Okay.
So they'll probably, in the meetings, the minutes that we approved tonight.
Well, when I was listening to on YouTube, I don't know that I saw that. So,
I remember it coming up.
okay, well, just, if it did, that's
Yeah.
fine, and I'll review it,
Yeah,
okay?
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, solicitor's report.
I did contact Midland Asphalt. Well, let me step back. The water, obviously, the Tunnel Ridge water situation was taken care of relative to the meter.
Good job on that.
That's done. The Midland Asphalt, I sent them a letter and said, road repair, Ely Road, last year, wasn't a follow-up. The fellow I talked to, whose name escapes me this moment, but he was from Midland Asphalt, said that a year has gone by and they won't come back and do anything. That was kind of, to summarize the phone call, that was what he said. He had said he spoke to someone in the office, and I want to say last year, about whatever the spots were on Ely Road, and they wanted, he didn't exactly say they wanted to come back, but he said there was discussion about that, and they were not directed to come back, or something along that line. But he said, now that a year's gone by, he is simply not agreeing to come back. So, I mean, that's not a
We didn't figure he would.
satisfactory, go ahead.
We didn't figure he would.
Okay, so it's not a satisfactory result, but that was the communication back. Given that a year's gone by, it'd be pretty tough to
Yeah.
enforce that. Let me see if there's anything. We're going to have an executive session relative to something else. I don't believe there's anything else. Let me just look if I have anything else. That's not to be discussed in open session. Okay. No, I have nothing else with this.
Thank you. Old business, paying the tax collector. the DCED
They
ever
put it
get
back to Mr. Hoffer's court, but we haven't really figured out what the best solution is.
Okay.
Could we discuss that in executive a little bit too tonight?
Yeah.
New business, Miss Danielle's preschool lease. Letter here, apparently when the lease last year got typed up, it gave her an option for another extended, another year at the current terms. And she's exercising that right. Do we need to vote on it?
If she's exercising her right, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we're gonna try to sue and fight about it, I would say the answer is no, you don't have to vote on it. We're recognizing that she's exercising.
Yeah. Okay. You want it? You wanna look at it? Okay. Saldo Review Committee, volunteers, their letters should have been in.
Yeah, we got all
Everybody got a
kinds of,
copy of the letters?
yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve those who submitted the letters of application.
What do we got?
Do you wanna put all 5 of them on?
Yep, certainly do. Yep. They are, like,
How many do we need?
Donna Miller,
Oh,
Kathleen Gilmore, Catherine Prescott, Sherry Zwicker, and Jackie Bird.
Okay, Jackie Bird,
That was one.
I got Sharon
That's all.
on there. Zwicker. Jackie Prescott.
What is this for? What saldo, what is that?
The subdivision,
Subdivision land development
Was that
ordinance.
the gentleman that came and talked about the Donegal? Oh, no,
Yeah, we had a special
yeah,
work.
we continued the meeting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. What do we got, a motion and a second? Or we
There was a
gonna have a
motion.
second?
There was a motion in there.
To, what was your motion?
To approve those who submitted.
All of them?
All of them.
But that's 5.
We kind of, yeah, we kind of talked about that tonight, and we thought too many cooks type of thing. Do we want to limit it to 3 or something, or?
Well, these folks, for the most part, all have, or bring some special training to the board, or would bring special training and special experience. And I, the fact we've got anybody interested at all is amazing.
We got that.
Only an advisory board, they're just gonna make
Yeah,
recommendations.
they're just gonna go over it and,
You get, any meeting that you
Give us
get
some-
all 5, there's gonna be a miracle anyway this time of year.
okay, I'll second it so we can move on. What are we? All right, were we discussing it, or anybody
I
got any?
prefer 3 only because they can get it knocked down, get it out, get it back to us as quick as possible.
Well, that's, yeah, I, like I said, we discussed that, having too many just ends up causing problems, but at the timeline, we can say we'd like to have it by December or whatever, it doesn't matter, right?
It's been in place for 40 years, I don't think.
It has been in place for 40 years, but this township very vehemently decided that they wanted less restriction, not more.
I've never heard anybody say that, set the saldo in place.
Well, I don't think a lot of people understood what the saldo did. So basically, the lady who came today who wanted to build a second barn falls under the saldo. Even though it's agriculture, even though it is not taxed, it is falls under the subdivision and land development, because technically, under our SADO, it falls under land development. And that's not what it was intended for. I guarantee you that that is not what they wanted.
What was the reason they wanted this?
You said
No, I'm asking you, what was the reason, what I said?
this,
What was the reason that they even had a style bell?
for subdivision, and then you specifically said,
It was
and everyone else
targeted
said it was
at Chuck
targeted.
Mann.
It was
And
targeted
it-
towards the trailer park being
Yeah.
built.
So then you admit that it wasn't
And the
designed,
county, this was the county ordinance, and the county says we're not gonna enforce it anymore, as the township adopted it. That's what happened. You'll see places in the ordinance where it says Washington County shall, and we're supposed to say Donegal. Because it was a word for word nearly reproduction.
and
of
if
the county.
someone decided to come in and use that document against anybody in this township, they could so choose to.
Really good. The town did use it, because we got sued, we lost.
Well, then don't know why you didn't fix it then, but now we're fixing it, and that's what I want to see it fixed.
I'm for that, I've been saying that for years, it needs to be fixed. It's, have the committee work on it.
But you didn't
The point
do
before the
it.
board is not whether or not we're
Well,
gonna
then
do it.
let's vote,
That's
but I
right, there's a-
think that that's too many. All they're doing is advising us, they can come right back, they can sit down, hash it out.
What keeps those 5 people from coming and sitting in that front row and asking the same questions that you're gonna be doing anyways? That point's moot. Let's vote on, call for a vote on the motion. If you wanna vote no, then vote no.
Okay,
That's your right.
the motion is to
Put those-
appoint all 5
Yeah.
people that submitted letters to the review committee, the Saldo Review Committee, correct? Got a motion and a second. How do you vote?
Tom,
No.
Kathy,
No,
Doug,
Yep.
Ed,
Yeah. Now what do you do?
it fails.
It
It fails. It fails.